Hello, everyone. I think we're live. Doug Cunnington here. This is the Friday Q&A. Welcome, everyone. I think folks can hear me, most likely. Oh, yeah. All right. And I see we got a few people on. We have Marty. We have Dee's TV, who says something to Kurt, who I don't know who that is. I'm Doug, though, and I'm the founder of Niche Site Project. Welcome. I think we'll probably have a few people joining up here shortly, which will be cool. And Dennis says, is there a rerun of yesterday's webinar? Yeah, there sure is. I heard there was some issues following the link, but if you go to the announcement video that I created, Dennis, there's a link in there for the unlisted video, so you can go watch it. So yeah, you just have to go back to the video where I announced it, and you should be able to get to it. All right, a couple things to mention. So today is the Friday Q&A, so you can ask questions. There are a lot of questions that have been asked before. In fact, I've created a page on Niche Site Project for frequently asked questions. There's a link in the description below. So sometimes I will just point you towards that page because I've answered it, I've thought it through, and I didn't miss any points. So, and again, they're frequent questions, so they happen all the time. We have Mike on, what's going on? Anyway, so I'll point you towards those things. A couple other things. We'll just do some housekeeping stuff in the beginning here. So remember, FAQs, I'll mention it a few times. Rest assured, there's going to be many questions that we see often for the veterans like Marty and some other folks who are on here often. We do see the questions all the time, and we have a couple kind moderators like Marty. Some other folks may show up too. So thanks for the help there. A couple other things. If you're just getting started with niche sites or affiliate marketing, there's a great link about the niche site process, as I call it. So that's the second one listed. You could go check that out. If you're just learning about keyword research, the Keyword Golden Ratio Masterclass should be very interesting. So there's a couple playlists to check out there. Underneath that, there are a few affiliate recommendations that I have. I get a commission if you use my affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything extra. I appreciate the support, but I get a commission. So I just want to make that clear. It's also noted very clearly there as well. Grammarly is awesome. I've been using it extensively, and it really works well for just writing and getting your grammar correct. Grammarly. So check it out. People ask about themes all the time. Check out the REHUB theme. A lot of people really like it, and it is also recommended by the Amazon Associate Program. For hosting, I use Siteground personally, and I use SEMrush all the time. Further, we have a few questions that were sent in. And by the way, if you're watching this later, you're watching the replay, feel free to ask questions in the comments. All right, ask questions in the comments, and I'll put them on a future session. So I'm doing a better job. I'm trying to do a better job with that and just answering comments and then having questions that are asked and getting to them. There are a lot of videos out there. I think we're pushing like 600 videos on the channel now. So it's kind of hard to keep up. And it's kind of hard to like sort through them, but I do the best I can. All right. So any questions in the crowd, feel free to write them in. We have Duke in the house. Also a moderator. So thanks. I'm going to jump into a couple things before we hit some of the questions. So I wrote a blog post the other day around how to stay motivated. I didn't put a link in the description, but I'll just paste it in the chat for now. I think a lot of people took a look at it. I'm not going to go super deep into like everything that I wrote here and like read it out loud, but I gave 3 specific techniques that I personally use to stay motivated, because at times, even if things are going great, things are going to be a little bit harder. There are endless factors that are completely out of our control. And in those cases, you really can't do anything about it. You just have to react however you're going to react, right? So there's a few things, and again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I encourage you to check it out. Number one, if you remember your why. So everyone has a different why. For a lot of people, it's, spending time with your family, maybe spending time with your friends and traveling, or doing something you enjoy. So if you remember why you're working on whatever it is, you'll usually be able to sort of reset, get out of like the moment of frustration of whatever, has gone wrong or whatever is, causing issues. And then you can sort of refocus and, again, you have to figure out your own. You can't copy someone else's. And by the way, it's okay if you're like, hey, I want to have more money so that I can, not work the job that I don't like, or maybe you want to buy some cool stuff that you want to like upgrade, like a new car or a big TV. All that's fine. Be honest with yourself. No one else needs to know your why. Whatever keeps you motivated, that's what you have to look at. The second one is to take a break. So if you're having issues like working through whatever it is you're working on, it could be working on an affiliate site like we're going to talk about a lot today, or it could be like launching a YouTube channel, right? Or a podcast. You're going to hit snags, there's going to be issues. For example, I was having all sorts of trouble with the multiple pieces of software that I use to run my course. There's like 5 pieces of software, everything's integrated and everything has a little bug. So it's kind of frustrating. And if you just try and brute force your way through things, sometimes it doesn't work and you actually just get more frustrated. You have a tough time. So take a break. I recommend going outside, walking around. Like, don't try to, learn more, like listen to a podcast, for example, while you're trying to take a break, like really take a break, or exercise. I basically go to the gym like every day, 5 days a week. I skip a couple days here and there to take a break. And I mean, I don't work out like super hard, but it's good to get a break. And even if it's a bad workout, at least I got out of the house, took a break, and got to think about something else. It's great to get out of your like normal work environment. So take a break, really good idea. The third thing that I'll mention is to get inspired. So go like study some of the people that you look up to. They can be like, super uber successful people. Like I think I referenced Michael Jordan, Steve Jobs, and like whoever else you may be into. So just go be inspired, like read some of their biography information that you could find. And they had issues too. Like everyone has issues, no matter how successful they are. And maybe they just have bigger problems that are way different than yours. But if you remember that everyone has issues, usually you feel a little better. And then again, it's sort of like a way to reset like what you're looking at. All right, so do check that out. And you'll notice, you may have noticed if you do read my blog, that I have been talking a lot about productivity, motivation, and other things like that. Next week, I'm launching officially my productivity course. So if you're not on the email list, you could head over. There's several links in the description. Get on the email list and you can get information about it. It's a less premium course. It's a quite an affordable course, and it's a course where you'll basically be able to enroll. You'll get access to all the material. It's not there's no like hacks or tricks or secrets or anything like that, but it's a way to focus up so that you can accomplish the goals that you need to and prioritize things effectively so that you could get stuff done. Like, for example, launching an affiliate site, or maybe you want to go on a vacation that's 6 months long, and it'll help you focus up to plan that and make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you go on vacation. All right, so I see some questions were sent in. And quick reminder, if there are common questions, I may point you towards the frequently asked questions. Okay. Oh, all right. We got Brian on, and Jack says advice for a brand new site, advice for someone brand new that sits down to write but watches YouTube and daydreams. Cool. Well, I think Marty has a good suggestion. By the way, a lot of people in the crowd are really smart. So you could use time tracking, browser extensions, and blockers. That's a good idea. I think you have to get to a point where like you're ready. So I don't know what point that is. For me, I think I was like, well, I'm gonna try it. Like I guess I usually get a certain amount of information, and then I know that the only way I'm gonna learn is to actually get out there and do some things and launch a site, see what happens, and then learn from those hopefully small mistakes that I make. As far as YouTube and daydreaming, I think at some point, like you just have to, you know, take some action. So I don't know how to get you to the point where like you're daydreaming to take action, but I would potentially recommend like journaling to get your ideas out of your head. And I mean, maybe you can, if you want, I assume you enjoy YouTube some, you can just like schedule a certain amount of time that you will dedicate to YouTube and then other times to dedicate to other stuff. And by the way, if I didn't have time to share this video around, so if people have the opportunity to share it somewhere, then you should share it, please. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoy it, or if it answer your question. And Marty, good point. The motivation thing that I just went over, I think that probably was helpful. Okay. Viral Ring says, can you use expired domain content? So can you? Yes. Should you? No. Potentially you're violating someone's copyright and it could be seen as duplicate content, potentially not. My advice, if you have to ask the question, then you shouldn't use it. And in general, that's like a bad practice. And I would cite Duke there, who says, don't take shortcuts. They never work. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So next we have Who is Joe on? What's up? All right. Martin says, first question, when choosing a domain, does the domain extension impact SEO? No, not directly. However, in an indirect way, it may like help or hurt the click-through rate on Google. So that's sort of like the Google results. So that would be a secondary impact. I would recommend to get a .com if you can, and just figure out how to make that work. If you really want to get something different, you can. But if you find the .com that's taken and then you go and get the .review domain, for example, you may have like trademark issues. If there's confusion, if it's a similar type of site and you have similar names, but one's .com and one's .org, like you probably just want to pick something different that's original. But your question, does the extension impact SEO? No, not directly. All right. Duke says, and thanks again for all the moderators. I can't think today for some reason. All right. Marty says taking breaks a really good idea, especially with like long stretches of work. And I find that it's similar to running, like distance running, which I haven't done like any big runs in a while. But essentially, there's a technique. I can't remember the person who sort of coined the term, but there's a technique of running where, let's say you're going to do a marathon or something, you'll run for 5 minutes and then you'll walk for like 45 seconds, and it like gives you a break the whole time to disrupt the repetitive movement, which can really wear you out after 26 miles and a few hours of running. So if you take breaks, it's great. And the trick is, you think maybe you can hold out, like you don't need breaks at the beginning. But I know for me personally, like if I waited until halfway through like a long run, it's not as effective. I actually still get tired. So those breaks early on like help your stamina for later in the run. So I think it's similar for working, and I think that's why like the Pomodoro technique is quite popular. It gives you breaks like throughout. You have small segments of work with little deadlines, which is really cool. Duke says, am I noticing any changes in how long links take to start influencing SERPs? It seems longer than I saw in the past. Yes, I do. I don't have like specific data to share or any test or anything that I've done, but yes, I have seen that. And my hunch is, it's just part of the new, like the landscape, the ever changing landscape of like ranking in Google and other search engines. So I mean, back in the day, Duke, you remember this, you could rank like number one for big term in like, weeks. If you go back far enough, you could do it in like days. But when I got started, it was like weeks to months. And now it's more like 6 months or longer. And I remember seeing a video by Neil Patel, and he mentioned that, it could take up to a year or maybe more for the link's full impact to like show up in the rankings. So, and at that point, I mean, one would assume that you're doing a lot of other things. So it's hard to pinpoint like what is causing what. So, but yeah, I see it taking much longer for things to happen. Martin says, you found some cool domain names, but .com is taken, but it's a domain agencies that sell domains, but .org or .net are available. Can you choose .net or .org for a niche site? Yes, you totally can. Team is on. What's up, Brian? Wayne. Hi, viral. We have Anthony on. Cool. Anthony's back on a live session. Hi, says, you just got your first random Amazon purchase from one of your links, and you've gotten an Amazon bounty. Congrats. Very good. Very good. Afsar says, hey, when are you going to answer the questions that are in the description? Very soon. And I know you have one in there. And you said you've asked it like 5 or 6 times and you haven't gotten an answer. So I'm sorry I missed it before, Afsar, but I'll go to yours in just a second. Sankeet says, thanks for the free support and honest advice. Sure. All right, I'm going to skip ahead for Afsar says, can you please tell me how I should write a title after I find a keyword? Should I keep the title as the keyword? All right, so this is a pretty basic question. Basically, maybe. So like all good questions, the answer depends. So sometimes, yeah, you would maybe keep the exact same type of like phrasing for the keyword. If it's a keyword golden ratio, you didn't specify much else. So I'm going to give a couple scenarios. So if it's a keyword golden ratio term, and if people are unfamiliar with the KGR, there's a playlist so you can learn all about it. Free masterclass. It's like an hour and a half. So if it's a KGR term, then I recommend that you do use like that keyword phrase in the title. All right. If it is using poor grammar, right? If your keyword phrase sounds funny, isn't natural, I would change it up so that it sounds natural. I would not title anything so that it sounds silly or like you're trying to match a keyword, which is literally what you're trying to do. So if it sounds natural, if it's a good title, then use it. If it sounds weird, you probably shouldn't target it anyway. But if you really want to, you should change up the order so that it sounds right and make the grammar proper. All right. So Afsar, basically it's super simple. You can title it whatever you want. If you want to have exactly the keyword in there, then do it. If you want to change it up because you think maybe you can improve the click-through rate by spicing it up a little bit, you can do that too. So it's totally up to you. And there's no like right or wrong way to do it. You have all the flexibility in the world. And maybe that's why this is hard, right? You can do whatever you want. There's no like step by step. My suggestion would be to go to big sites. Maybe would point you towards the Amazon affiliate teardown playlist where I look at like the wire cutter. We look at Outdoor Gear Lab, Baby Gear Lab. There's a bunch of big sites. Check out how the best in class are naming their posts, and then you can follow suit, right? If they're doing it, it probably works. All right. Okay. So next question, I'm going to go back to the description here. So Chris Milton asked this the other day in one of the other videos. By the way, if you have a question, you could leave a comment if you're watching the replay later, and I'll try and make sure I answer it in the next session. So this question is, tell us about a launch plan. How much content do I recommend? What types of articles and pages as a foundation? All right. So I recommend that you launch with 10 posts, and you could basically publish these as soon as you finish them, right? There's no reason to hold up the process. So just publish them whenever you finish them. 10 posts shouldn't take that long. I recommend 5 posts. 50% are informational and 50% are affiliate-based reviews. As far as other pages, you probably should have an about page, a contact page, disclaimer, maybe a privacy policy. You can combine some of those. There's no like set way to do it, but those are sort of like core pieces that you need. So that's it. 10 pieces of content, maybe 2 to 4 other pages that are, contact, about, disclaimer, and so on. And then launch with some affiliate content, some informational or how-to content. So pretty straightforward. Keep it simple. You don't have to do anything crazy for a launch plan. DDD's TV says, my niche site is 4 months old last week and you haven't made a dime off of Amazon. Should I be concerned? Yeah, I would be concerned. There's other people asking more follow-up questions, but I would suggest if you haven't made a dime off of it, potentially you're doing something wrong that you don't know that you're doing wrong. All right. So that is, I would slightly be concerned, but I also don't know how much content you have. I don't know how much work you've done. Right. So someone could have a site that's 4 months old, but they've only put in like 10 hours, or your site could be 4 months old and you could have put in 400 hours. So I'm not quite sure, but if it were me or one of my students, I would probably be concerned. And then Marty says to be patient, follow the plan. I don't know what plan you're following. So if you're, here's my concern. If you're following a bad plan, it could be a year and 4 months and you still may be in the exact same place. That's not cool, but I don't know what plan you're following now. All right. Brian asked about the traffic, check your metrics. Yeah. And see if you're getting traffic to Amazon. Cool. Nam asked, what's my opinion about the latest Google algorithm update? Can you ask a more specific question? I think, these updates come out all the time, and I don't really know what you want me to comment about. So if you could just make it more specific, that'll help me rather than just waxing on. So, and by the way, okay, I'll do it. Usually, I don't try to figure these algorithm updates out like as soon as possible, because like a lot of times there's not enough data. So, I mean, we've had a few weeks, of course. It looks like there's some clarity about like the majority of the sites that were kind of affected, which seem to be around the medical or health area. And if your site didn't have like enough like authority and or credibility, it seemed to have impacted them, right? So some big sites were actually really impacted. But in general, I mean, if anyone says they know how to fix any sort of algorithm update like really fast, it's kind of questionable, right? Because it's hard. It takes time to gather the data. It takes time to test. And I know other people have done some analysis and stuff. So I think Charles Float had a nice analysis. I would check that out if you're interested in learning more. All right. So I don't know how to say your name, about affiliate links. Should they be, quote, hidden under words? I do recommend this and under this link, or should they be obvious, like razor, mock, blah, blah, blah? I don't think it matters. To be honest, I don't know really what you're asking, but I don't think it matters. So I don't know what you're talking about. If anyone understands, let me know. I'm sorry, I just don't understand. All right. Next. Duke says, yeah, back in the day, you could rank in a couple days. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I've seen some seriously like pretty awesome, guest posts and stuff go out from like my friends and stuff. And they're like, nothing happened. So there's so many factors in the algorithm. So it's hard to say like if something else was impacting it and it was, keeping their site from ranking. All right. Next, we have Daniel. What's up? Daniel is struggling to find KGR keywords. How essential to find these keywords for a new site? Well, it depends on your timeline and I guess how soon you need a quick win. All right. And by the way, if people can give a thumbs up, like the video, that would be cool while we're watching here. I would really appreciate it. So here's the deal. If you don't use KGR terms, it's highly likely you're not going to get much traffic and you could be, you could have a hard time getting traffic just in general if you're not using KGR terms. The thing is, if you're very patient and you have a long time to see if this works, most of us don't though. That's the deal. So, and you're like, hey, I'm going to give it 6 months and it is okay if I get 0 traffic for 6 months. I'm just so motivated. I'm just going to stick with it. Like, I'm just going to keep working hard. Now, a lot of us will say that we are that sort of bulldogish, but when it comes down to it, like motivation wavers, right? Refer back to my motivation rant and post that I mentioned earlier. The point being, I highly recommend finding at least a few KGR terms. Once you get the hang of it, you're going to find a bunch of them. All right. But if you don't use KGR terms, everything's just going to take a little bit longer. And I believe it is extremely important for new people to see that their site's ranking in the top 30 or so within a few weeks and maybe get a couple, visitors a day. It's really cool. Maybe someone buys something early on. And by the way, I mean, if you're like working on something for like 4 or 5 months and like nothing happens, really tough to keep working on it. By the way, it's tough to, talk to your friends or spouse or whoever about what you're working on. And they think it sounds like a scam anyway, right? They don't quite understand what we're working on. And then if they say, well, how much have you made so far? You've been spending so much time on it. It's pretty embarrassing to say like, well, I haven't made any money, but I've spent all this time. So anyway, I recommend trying to work through it. Check out the masterclass playlist for the keyword golden ratio. Martin asks, can I use Walmart affiliate with Amazon? Yeah, and Duke confirms. So Duke is, he works with several other affiliate programs, including Walmart, eBay, and Overstock. There's no conflicts, and you can provide the best pricing. Duke's ninja on that stuff. All right, Joe says, do I write only product reviews about topics or articles around the product? Do I write only product reviews or articles about topics around the product? Both. You should have both. Chris says you were up to 300 visitors a day before the last algorithm update. Now you're down 50%. Have I had any problems with the update? No, I haven't. My traffic seems to be ticking up slightly. So I think it's probably related to maybe like the authority on your site, maybe the credibility of your site. Hard to say exactly. I would analyze your competition just in general and see what you can figure out. I would look on page, I would look off page, and try and figure out like what's different about your site versus the sites that have replaced your site rather. Anthony says you've been reading that the FTC says that disclosing your Amazon affiliate info on your about page or disclaimer is not enough. Have I heard this? Yes, I have. There's a lot of rules with the FTC. You should probably have it on every single page, like in the footer is a decent place. And I have even seen references that it should be in a prominent place, not just buried in the footer, right? Let's say you have a long post, maybe someone doesn't get all the way to the bottom. So it could be even better, right? To place it in the sort of like the header section. Look at like the Wirecutter. They put it right up front. Some sites put it in the footer. And oh, I just remembered um, another little announcement I can make. But basically, you'll notice, right? Actually, check out my description here and the way that I opened this video. All right. Did anyone notice that? Let me know in the comments if you noticed it. And basically, you can look at yeah, my description here. So essentially, I placed before any of the affiliate links, I was like, I get a commission. It needs to be clear. You can't just say, I'm an affiliate. Like it needs to be in plain English. You don't want it to be legalese. It needs to be clear. That's sort of what the FTC specs get into. All right, as we scroll down, we see that Ish Taiq. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Hey Doug, do you really think that Google care about the exact keyword matching process now in 2018? I'm talking about the I'm talking about the KGR title question you answered a few minutes back. Let's see. I think you're I don't know. I guess my answer is yes. I think actually here, let me turn it around. I don't think Google cares. I think Google wants to get the best information to the searcher. So if you're answering the question really specifically, then you're probably going to do better. Now, there's a lot of factors out there, and I'll just call you Ahmed if that's all right. If you want to retort and like challenge and like provide some data and like real information, go for it. I would love to have the conversation, but I have a feeling that maybe you haven't actually tested the keyword golden ratio. And I think there's either people that are skeptical about the keyword golden ratio, and then there's people that have tried it. And Steven mentions Google came out and said that it wasn't a medical or health related update. That is true. I've seen that information. All the updates are like via Twitter. I've seen that information. However, the vertical that was impacted the most seems to be, I think they called it a happy coincidence. Okay. And Josh says that I skipped your question and that you're hurt. I'm really sorry. I don't recall seeing a question. So why don't you ask it again? And then perhaps I'll see it this time. Sorry, buddy. Thomas says, what's the primary purpose of blog commenting, traffic, or networking with the hope of gaining backlinks? The latter. Yep. Good question. Okay. B says, to clarify, you can have an affiliate link hidden under the word, or you can copy paste the name and title of the product and make a link from the name of the product. It doesn't matter. You can do either one. Shabarish, which is better, multi-niche affiliate site or a single niche affiliate site? There's no better one. There's just, choices that you need to make as you're doing either one. So either one can be fine. We can look at an example like the Wirecutter, right? Who's, it's focused on everything, right? They have everything under there. Or Outdoor Gear Lab, right? So that's focused on outdoor products. They're both great, right? It just depends on what you're trying to do. All right, and as we're going through here, okay, Road Less Traveled says, are all your sites niche sites, any authority sites? Well, let me mention that. Actually, let me ask you, what is your definition of a niche site versus an authority site? Because in my opinion, it's just branding. It's just marketing. So my site is like niche site projects. So I say niche sites, but essentially they're both just affiliate sites. So I think based on your definition, all of the sites that I have are authority sites. That's just my guess on your definition. All right. Okay, Anthony is asking about the announcement. Okay, cool. So the announcement is I'm doing a couple new series coming up. So first one, I think I'm gonna kick it off maybe towards the tail end of next week, or maybe even the next week. I'm not 100% sure, but it's on side hustles. So for the Uber fans of the channel, you probably saw I did a video soliciting questions for Nick Loper of Side Hustle Nation. So I interviewed Nick Loper, Side Hustle Nation, earlier this week, and then a few other people as well talking about side hustles. So I know most people, and generally most of what I talk about is affiliate marketing. However, I've covered so much of it, and want to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to the side hustle side of the house, and I'm going to interview a bunch of people and see how it goes. So most people, they don't care what it is, right? They just want to make a little money on the side. They want to do something a little more fulfilling than maybe their day job, and they're not getting as much out of it. They want to do something where like they can call the shots and make decisions, and maybe make a little money on the side. And that is sort of the focus of this series. So I think I'm at least going to do like 5 or so interviews and see how it flies. So should be pretty exciting. I'm getting people who are sort of bigger than what we're talking about, which is cool. I also interviewed a woman named Lise Dharma. She's big on Instagram. She has her own marketing agency, and she teaches courses as well. So she like branched out and made her side hustle a full-time gig, which is really cool. And then I'm talking to a lot of, or at least I've talked to one reseller who works on eBay and on Amazon. So super interesting, very like straightforward business model. Generally not as passive as affiliate marketing, but if you're just looking to get started, like the business model is really clear. Buy something for a little bit cheaper, and you can sell it somewhere else for a little bit more. I mean, again, super simple, and it's something where like you could explain it and you feel good, and you're buying something that you could resell for more. All right. Thanks, Anthony, for the reminder. Cool. So Josh says, you found a bunch of sites accepting guest posts in your niche. Are you saying all you do is pitch them on content ideas, get approvals, submit content, and we're golden? Yeah, Josh, all you got to do, buddy, is get started. Like you've asked so much about the guest posting. It's so easy, man. Like I literally, a couple people in the 5-figure niche site course, they were like, hey, does this outreach email look good? And I was like, yeah, looks good, right? They followed the guideline, they followed the templates, and like within a few hours, he emailed me back and was like, hey, I got accepted already. So like all you got to do is do it. Now, I will caution you, you found sites accepting guest posts. Those are going to be the most crowded channels that you could possibly go for. All right. So I would recommend finding something a little bit more unique than like the most crowded channel, because they're getting spammed like crazy and they're probably going to ask you for a donation. So that's just straight up. And now if you are a little bit like more strategic about how you're approaching people, then they're not going to ask you for any money. And by the way, one of the people that I interviewed last week, she has like a much bigger following than me. I think she has like 75,000 followers on Instagram. And then she has a very large email list and has been featured in a lot of places. Josh, I literally sent her a cold email, very close to the type of outreach emails that I send. And she was like, sure, we could do it. I emailed her on a Thursday and we spoke on the following Monday. And she even mentioned during the interview, she was like, your email was awesome. I shared it with my students and within my Facebook group because it was such a good outreach email. By the way, you can get my outreach emails if you sign up for the email list. So anyway, Josh, just take action. It's not going to go 100% golden, as you mentioned, but you have to do something, and then you could adjust along the way. Report back next week. Send out 20 emails, see how it goes. All right, Doss says, how do we lower the bounce rate of a site but not affect the affiliate link clicks? As if they click the affiliate link lowers the bounce rate. I don't know, because here's the thing. If you lower the bounce rate, then you are like changing the interaction that the person is doing. So I don't know what factors may go into play. So I don't know. What's your real goal though? Do you want to maximize your earnings or lower the bounce rate? All right, Jaren's on. Good to have you. Okay, Road Less Travel says you'll rephrase. You guess niche sites. You don't try to create a following, but you do give value and have them click on affiliate links. Okay. So Road Less Traveled, whereas an authority site, you try and create an audience, maybe have their email and have repeat visitors. So I guess, and that is your own personal definition. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I will certainly answer your question. Mine's kind of in the middle. So I don't actually care if people come back to the site. Doesn't really matter to me, but I also have like a pretty big email list just in general. But it doesn't really matter if they come back or not. So there's a small handful that come back, but it's like maybe 5% is about it. So the sites are quite large though, and it's very long form content. So Road Less Traveled, you didn't mention that at all, but it's multiple hundreds of posts, and some of the posts, some of the content is extremely long. So hopefully that helps answer your question. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. All right, Raul, what's up? And then I see Ahmed says, we see half the picture, so it would be great to see the full picture. So I obviously missed something. Duke said, study the top 10 results in every niche and show that keywords do matter. They matter a lot. It's not just exact match. It's also variations. Ahmed, so I don't know what point you're trying to make. But again, I welcome your criticism and what you're trying to make. So I'm not 100% sure what you're asking about, but yeah, I mean, one should probably do some keyword research, or at least have an idea about what kind of topics are interesting for the searcher within the niche. So I'm not really sure what the point you're trying to make. But yeah, just let me know. Raul says, you're confused about modifying KGR terms. Can you add 2018 for beginners after the keyword? Can we rearrange it? Sure, you can do whatever you want. I would recommend you try it and then see the results and then adjust from there. And yeah, but basically you can do whatever you want. Das says, well, I guess I should ask, does the bounce rate affect how well you rank for the articles? It is one of the factors, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. People in the chat, let us know your bounce rates. Some on Niche Site Project, my bounce rate is, I think it's in the 60 to 70 range. And then on some affiliate sites, it's closer to 80 to 90%, right? So I wouldn't worry about it too much if you're getting people over to Amazon. The Davis says no sound, but maybe you meant sound. And I think my sound is working. So maybe try and refresh it. You couldn't hear me, so I don't know what to say. Okay, Thomas says, I'm trying to decide where I should focus. You have 10 posts that are ranking. 3 of them are on page 1. The others on page 2 to 6. You have 30 blog comments. Okay. So where Can I don't know what you're asking, really. Where should you focus your efforts? Um, and I don't know if you had more options. Just pick something. Pick one of the things that you think you should work on, and then work on it until you're done, and then move on to the next one. And if you want to clarify, Thomas, because I'm not honestly really sure what you're asking, let me know. And I don't know. It's really hard. Perhaps I need to change up the format of these. I don't do well with statement questions, or so maybe I need to come up with a better strategy on that. I'm not really sure. All right. So next we have, oh, Marty says to Thomas, a little bit more thorough than my answer. Try to add more gives. Try to add more on what gives the best return. KGR based post. Those not ranking well may take a lot more time to move up, and it also works on backlinks. Okay, gotcha. And I see closer to what you were getting at. Okay, Dex says, "What's my overall perception on using PBNs for long term?" So me personally, I don't use private blog networks. That's what PBM stands for people that don't know. It's gray hat. It's against the Google guidelines for webmasters. So you can get a penalty if you do that. If it's so I don't do that anymore. I used to do all sorts of gray hat stuff, but after multiple penalties, I decided I didn't want to have that level of risk. So my overall perception is, if you're I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people that use PBNs. If you look, for example, over at Empire Flippers, you'll see most of the sites, or at least a lot of the sites, do use PBNs. So you can do it. You can get away with it. The risk may or may not be higher. If you are buying links from a company, those are not truly private, because there's hundreds of other people buying those links. It is an insanely profitable business. So it's really good for the companies selling links, because unfortunately, there's a lot of them that are bad, and they don't have to. They can sell links, and they cannot really give you much of a bump in the rankings. Refer back to Duke's question earlier. Does it take a little while for links to show up and bump your rankings? Yeah, it can take a while now. And for a PBN seller, they could just say, it takes a little longer these days. Maybe check your on page. They don't actually have to provide results. So what's my overall perception for long term? I think as long as Google is using backlinks as a ranking factor, there will be people that are able to use private blog networks. Truly private ones can work fine, even with a elevated risk. But if you're on a public network buying links from someone else, that gets a little fuzzy. But that said, you can still be impacted by an algorithm update, just like the people mentioned with the August update. All right. L. Smith says, you just started a site right before the medic update, and of course it's health related. Should you scrap it and pick something different right now, or keep it and use the KGR? I would probably scrap it, but that's just me. I guess the good thing is you just started it. So at least you don't have a ton of sunk cost in there, but I would probably move on to something else if it was me. All right. And Hi says you have a bounce rate of 35 to 45%, which is amazing. That's really good. Alwayne says somewhere. Oh, what do you think about a site where you can take your own pictures, upload instead of stock images? Wouldn't it be more authentic to users? Yes. I don't use any stock images. JS says, if you set the affiliate links to open it in a new window, they are still on your site on Amazon too, just not bouncing. Cool. Duke says, I use an adjusted bounce rate based on a 15-second time interval. All of your sites have an adjusted bounce rate of 10 to 12%. If they stay longer than 15 seconds, you consider them engaged. Yes. And that is a point that I didn't make at all. The time on site is pretty high, but the bounce rate is pretty high. But it also means like someone lands on the site and they stay there for like 4 minutes or whatever. That's good. That's a pretty long time for someone to stay on the site. Roadless Traveled says, now are you focused on KGR content for your own niche sites now? Sort of, but not really. So like at some point I was like, hey, I have enough content. I've posted a lot of content. Now I'm going back to improve that content. And by the way, it's a misconception, by the way. For some reason, everyone thinks that I only have KGR content. I have a lot of KGR content. But over time, you'll rank for other stuff. And I do a lot of link building too. I do a lot of guest posts and that sort of thing. So you should have a well-rounded site where you're targeting, high volume search terms and KGR terms as well. It's totally up to you, but I think a well-rounded site is better. Right. Oh, and Alwyn says you have a site in the health niche and you're ranking pretty well. 90% of your posts are new. Cool. That's good to know. And I think, if the content's really good and you're getting good user visitor metrics and stuff, like you may be fine. So I wasn't impacted and I don't know many people that were, just a few. So moving on, we have, okay, exclusive for you says, how are you? I'm good. Can I please tell you the process to get a profitable niche and keyword? Yeah, I'll direct you to this link, the second in the description, but I'll go ahead and put it in the chat here for you. This baby will work. So if you check out, we'll see if I can get it for you. Head over here and there's a lot of information on how to get started. Additionally, there's an FAQ section where you may get some good ideas and just it'll help you get thinking critically about the process as well. All right, Country House Media says, how many sites do I currently manage? Less than 10. Do I try and make as many sites as possible? The answer is no. I try and do as few as possible. Basically, there's a lot of overhead to take care of a site, so I don't do too much. And I have a post on Niche Site Project where I did a roundup and asked a bunch of people, would they rather have 10 or one site? And actually, let's do the question here. Like, would you rather have 10 sites or just one site, assuming the profit level was the same? So for me, one site, 100%. One site is what I would do. And the reason is, like I said, the overhead. There's a lot of mental capacity that takes up space in your mind if you're managing like multiple things. And for me, I'd rather just have the one. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, I want to diversify. And my challenge is, if you're getting traffic from Google and you're monetizing with Amazon with all 10 of your sites, then you're not diversified. You just have like 10 different things to worry about. So the reality is, something could happen to your traffic, you're in big trouble. Something could happen to your affiliate account and you're in big trouble there too. I mean, you could adjust from that, but I mean, the fact is, if you're using the same traffic sources, if you're using the same monetization method, then you are not, you're not like, what am I trying to say? You're not diversified. Okay. Next. Martin says you found 10 niches in KJR keywords. Is it better to start 10 niche sites with 10 articles or one with 100 articles? One with 100 articles. Does website content matter, the quantity? No. However, what do you mean does it matter? If you have more content, then you're probably going to get more traffic. But if you're asking, will you rank higher for any of them specifically because you have more content? The answer is no. But if you have more content, chances are you're going to get more traffic. So my suggestion is to go with one niche and launch one. All right, Thomas says, you were asking if you should focus on optimizing your post to rank higher or if you should focus on outreach. Marty answered your question. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Someone is asking if blog commenting is still effective. Yes, it depends on what you're trying to do. Blogger versus WordPress, which is best for SEO? You got a hacking attack on your WordPress. It shouldn't really matter, but I'm not 100% sure if I follow your question. It shouldn't matter as long as they're like optimized from an SEO perspective. So I don't know. I don't use Blogger, so I can't really answer from firsthand experience. Yokohama Life says one site keeps you busy enough. Marty says that Zach wants to know if I use Creative Commons images or my own. Usually Creative Commons because I don't have like tons and tons of images, but I have quite a few of my own images as well. Okay. Thanks for asking, Marty. All right. L. Smith says, do I recommend a set schedule for posting on new site launches? Like a post every other day? Or start with X number of posts? No, just publish them as fast as you can, basically. It doesn't matter if you publish on a schedule. If it helps you and for some reason, then you can, but you don't need to. By the way, I haven't asked people to like the video. So we're sitting at 17 likes right now. If I answered your question, please hit the thumbs up. If you have the ability to hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate it. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment, say, thanks for answering my question or something cool like that. Appreciate it. Maybe we can get up over, it'd be really cool if we can get over the 40 mark in the next few minutes. So if you can, it'd be really cool. Unknown Fact says, you want to know if you could use an expired domain for your next Amazon affiliate site. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. What are the minimum qualifications for an expired domain to rank in a short period of time? Here's the deal. You can do that. I don't recommend it. If you have to ask the question, then you probably don't have the skills. No offense. You probably don't have the skills to check the site to see if it's a good one to use. So I would say don't do it. The other thing is if you buy an expired domain, it may actually have a negative effect on your rankings and then the sandbox. I've heard of people where they got an expired domain. It looked like there were no issues and they, the site was maybe dead for a few years, right? No, it looks like everything was cool. And then they worked on it for, 6 months, 9 months, like things weren't ranking. They were giving it backlinks, all the stuff you're supposed to do. And it just never ranked. And then they never figured out what the problem was. That's the end of the story. I don't know. They just never worked it out. And they were like, well, that was a big waste of time. So I would recommend don't do it. All right. And then, so unknown facts, don't use an expired domain. But if you do your due diligence and here's what I would recommend. Buy an existing blog. Buy an existing blog that maybe is unmonetized, not monetized well, and then you'll be in good shape. All right. Ray says you've been getting your head around link building. You signed up for Ahrefs to find out where your competitors get backlinks. You came across some links and you probably can't paste anything in here, and you ran out of space. Okay. Next, how can we create a blog comment effectively? Cool. So I think I have a video on that and a guide and everything. So I recommend you just check that out. Let me try and find a link for you here really quick. All right, go check that out. And then that's like a good process to follow. Good luck. Yokohama Life says, I missed your comment. I probably did. You made your first sale. Congratulations. And you owe it to the videos, my videos, to keep you motivated. Have I opened a P.O. box you'd like to send me a thank you gift? Yeah, I do have a P.O. box. In fact, it's on. Are you on my email list, Yokohama? It is on the emails there. I don't have it handy. All right. And Dex, good piece of data here. He or she got an DA40 domain. You targeted a 5,000 search volume term. It worked well, but the recent updates stopped it. You need to focus on quality content. All right. And L. Smith says, you don't see a like button. Bummer. You know what? I'm not sure like how to find that stuff specifically. So I don't know. All right. So yeah, Yokohama Life, my PO box is at the end of the emails. Bozeman, Montana is like the city. So that'll tell you. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. And L Smith, I think maybe if you turn it like in the other direction, you may be able to like see more stuff, but you know, we're getting more likes. It's good. It's all good. All right. All right. Ray says there's a site example slash content uploads, blah, blah, blah. I don't honestly, I'm not. So you're saying they're getting backlinks from, I don't know. I don't really understand. I don't know that I've seen that myself, so I can't comment further. I don't know if it's worth doing since I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm not sure. Are you saying they're getting links to their images or they're getting links from images? All right. And any other questions out there? And we're sitting at 28 likes. Again, if we have quite a few people, hopefully you're able to hit the like button. Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't like begging for the likes. And you know, we're doing this at our own speed. So one cool thing, we are approaching 10,000 subscribers. So thanks everyone who has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, maybe have a look if it's your first time on the channel or something like that. But you know, that's only worth so much as just a bit of a vanity metric, to be honest with you. Doesn't really matter. But it's interesting. One would say that, you know, the more views and the more subscribers means I'm getting better at what I'm trying to do, which is a good thing. However, there's so much stuff out of your control. In fact, one of the guys I was talking to who does reselling on eBay, he's the rise and grind picker out of Illinois, guy named Shane. Good guy. Really enjoyed chatting with him, but really cool story. So he has a YouTube channel. I think has like 5 or 6,000 subscribers. Super cool thing is he did a video a few months back. He said it maybe got like 500 views or something like that. Nothing remarkable. Then, like in the last 4 weeks, the video took off. It has like 70,000 views. Like I think he got like 20,000 views like overnight, something like that. So in the last 28 days, he's gotten like thousands of new subscribers and like his channel blew up. Very interesting. I mean, he's been doing it for like a year, so he's put in his time. Another friend of mine, Zoe Ariel, also on YouTube, she has like 114,000 subscribers or something like that. But her channel blew up over the course of a few weeks. And it just happened to be, well, she put her time in, she was vlogging for like a couple years, I think. And then she does minimalism videos as well. And she had a minimalism video go viral. I think it probably has 1 million views at this point. And she was able to like explode. I can't remember how many new subscribers she got like overnight, but I think she was out of town on vacation or something like that. And she thought like someone hacked her account because she got so many notifications about new subscribers. Um, so I'm just talking YouTube stuff. All right. Tima says, does changing a WordPress theme affect rankings in a bad way immediately or in the long run? Also how about updating content? So not necessarily. If you have a theme that like is well optimized, it shouldn't impact the rankings. It could. Nowadays, I feel like most premium themes are not going to screw up your rankings. So you should probably be okay. In the long run, it shouldn't hurt your rankings. If the rankings go down, you should be able to tweak things, make things right, and then it should be okay. As far as updating the content, it could affect the rankings if you change. I mean, if you change it in a good way, it's probably going to move your rankings up. If you change it in a negative way, it's probably going to move it down. I mean, I hope that's helpful. Jesse says, do I recommend Amazon affiliate links to multiple countries? Only if you're getting traffic from multiple countries. And a significant amount of traffic, I would say at least 100 visitors per day from whatever geography you're looking at. Owen says, when will I turn on ads? I'm not sure. I was thinking about like just slamming ads on for everything just to see what would happen. But I may wait until I get to the 10,000 subscriber point. And then it could be interesting. Like I'm excited to, I mean, from a strategic standpoint, since you folks have been hanging on here with me for who knows how long, how long are we rolling here? No clue. I don't see. We've been going here for over an hour anyway, but as I was approaching the 10,000 subscriber point, I was like, it could be interesting to do another sprint and publish a lot of content. For people new to the channel, which I think a lot of people are new to the channel, in February, I published about 60 videos over the course of like the 28 days, give or take. It may have been a little bit more videos in 28 days, but I published a lot in that stretch of time. Do people remember that? And basically, the watch time went up. There was more growth. Like a lot of good things were happening. Word on the street is once you hit 10,000 subscribers, like your channel grows a little bit faster, like it picks up a little bit more momentum in general. And then I've heard like 100,000 is the same situation, although I don't know. I don't have like, I think I'd rather spend more time. We'll see how it goes, but I don't have any vision to like grow to 100,000 subscribers. Just not really something I'm super interested in, although it would be fine, right? But I'm not like, okay, I've got to put out so many videos or anything like that, because it'll drive you crazy, right? But the point is, I was thinking, hey, it would be cool once I get really close to 10,000 subscribers to do another sprint and like publish just a lot of content. So a series of interviews, that's great. I mean, I feel energized when I'm doing the interviews. It's interesting. I'm learning new stuff. And then, the cool part with interviews is it potentially is bringing in more people. So Nick Loper, for example, has the Side Hustle podcast. By the way, people check it out if you haven't. And there's a lot of people that listen to Nick and they maybe would check out a YouTube interview with him to hear like his backstory and just like some cool stuff that we have going on. So my thought was, as I'm approaching 10,000, I don't want to coast. I want to like push on the gas and do something more interesting with like collaborations, working with people outside of just affiliate marketing. This is a very narrow space. You may notice Actually, if you go look at the videos that I have out there, like a lot of them are the same topics over and over again because like YouTube encourages you sort of to just like keep publishing more stuff. And the fact is, um, a video that I did say 18 months ago versus one that I do now, it's going to be way different, right? So hopefully now it's going to be better. The quality is going to be better. I'll be better on the mic or the video just in general, and the editing's better. So there's part of it is just to like do better, like maybe republish the same stuff. Point is, I'm going to try and push on the gas as we're approaching the 10K mark here. All right. So I'll wait. I think I may turn on ads sometime soon just to see what happens. I'm not sure the revenue that it'll bring in, but it could be interesting. Oh, okay. And Steven says, a guy that he follows called Resell Rabbit had a video go viral, over 4 million views on one video. He's in Green Bay. That's cool. Seeing it like it was interesting. Like the channel, the guy that I talked to, I mean, it's huge for him. Like it blew up his channel. He's getting like a much bigger following, and it's like a 15-minute long video. I think he shot it on his phone. Really, I mean, pretty rough cuts, and just raw, little amusing. And it was like a Dollar Tree flipping situation. So he like went to Dollar Tree, found some cool stuff, and then yeah, it took a little while for it to blow up. But yeah, 4 million views. I couldn't imagine. All right, Steven, thank you. You just used my SiteGround link. Really appreciate it. Yeah, if people need hosting, I will tell you, SiteGround may be a little bit more pricey. The first year is always cheaper, almost for every company, and they always like make it more expensive. And I will tell you, SiteGround has fantastic service. So the deal with hosting is everything's pretty much equal. It's a commodity, right? You can just get hosting. There's tons of companies, and what happens is actually I'm contacted often by hosting companies, and they're trying to push really good affiliate offers at you, and they're trying to just get us influencers to recommend products that we haven't used, and I usually tell them no. The reason why I recommend SiteGround is because I moved to them after I had trouble with my other hosting company, and I couldn't get good support. SiteGround has excellent support. That's why I recommend them. So thanks, Stephen. Really appreciate it. All right. Yeah. And people subscribe if you haven't. And we failed to get to the 40 likes. I was too aggressive, but if people have a chance later, I would appreciate it. All right. All right. Eric says, where can I get the best backlink? So I'll refer you, Eric, to the FAQ link. So I would say you should study some of the stuff on backlinks there, and just in general. Um, if you're like the best backlinks, it's hard to answer. It depends on a lot of factors like your niche and all that. All right, Jaron says, curious if I feel that any of my sites are worth collecting emails for, doing more email marketing, or if I don't feel that ROI is ever worth the time. So I have email lists for half my sites, and it is worth it. And I mean, I personally I like the process of list building. So yeah, I do it. Again, most of the time I discourage people. And Jaron, you and I talked about it. Most of the time I discourage people because they're distracted by this whole other set of skills that they have to learn when they have no traffic, right? So if you have no traffic, like don't worry about it. Like if you're converting at an amazing percentage, right? Let's say you're converting 10% of your visitors to your email list, but you're only getting like 10 visitors a day. Who cares? If you're getting like 1,000 visitors a day and you're like converting 10%, that's great. Yeah, you can get them back on your site, especially if you have like other informational content. And that's what I do. I have like a long I think I have about 30 emails in the autoresponder, and yeah, those are the people that come back. So yeah, it can be worth it. And there's other offers. You can do some marketing around the holidays, retail season. Okay, so Timus says both themes are premium. The site's ranking first for very competitive keywords. So you're really worried if you change the theme or content, but you're going to go for it. Okay, cool. And I think I saw Marty mention that the theme won't directly impact the rankings. Usually it can, but usually it won't. But it'll all be indirect factors. So you may actually, it may, if it's a better theme and it's better for the users, then you should be in good shape. All right. Fox McLeod says, "Do I like Elmo?" So I'm not sure if that's a troll or just someone being cute. So Fox, I don't know what you're talking about. We'll let it fly for now. All right. Next we have. Oh, Steven says you bought 3 years to get the discount for all time. It doesn't make sense to sign up for 1 year and then pay a higher price. Yep, for sure. Dennis says, "What do I think about A2 hosting?" I don't know. I've never used them, so I'm not sure. Um, Patriot says, "Have I thought about translating into Chinese, a big market?" No, I haven't thought about it. Thomas says, "You see, I'm a fan of Cal Newport." Yeah, I sure am. Is there something, did I do something specific? Or did I just mention it in another video? Right. L. Smith says, "Just an opinion question. Do I think prices have become too high for buying web properties at 30x earnings?" I I think it depends. I think it can be fair, like the site that I sold for Project Go White Hat. Like we got 33x. Now, we used a broker, so that gobbled up 15% right there. And then I've talked to like portfolio managers, like private investment, like portfolio managers, and they pay out in the 40 to like 35 to like high 40 range, depending on the valuation and the site and that sort of thing. So I don't know. I mean, that is on par based on my knowledge. That's on par with like just a normal business. So so I guess that's a non-answer. I'm not sure. All right. And exclusive for you says, "Do I have a PDF book for finding profitable keyword and niche?" Um, Sort of. What I'll do is just, I think I've already put this link out, but I mean, basically, if you go right here, there's a way to download most all of this stuff here. And there's a PDF. It's like 90 pages. All right. So knock yourself out. All right. Um, Vipin says, "What's the best solution for Amazon affiliates if you have visitors from different countries?" Well, you can use one link from Amazon. That's what I do. But there are a lot of other solutions out there. I usually just stick with the Amazon solution as much as I can. All right. And L. Smith says, "Yeah, you were just thinking anyone who bought a health site at 30x price is not going to be happy." Yeah. I mean, that is the big risk. So and that is why um like for the valuation of the sites, like there are other sites that are like they're fine, right? They're totally fine. It's so risky, but it's so profitable to be able to get your money back just from the earnings in like under 3 years. So it's pretty insane when you consider that compared to other investment um, vehicles. All right. Yep, Tima, good luck with the changing of the themes. Always remember when you're making a migration of any kind, there's going to be problems. Trust me. There's going to be issues that you don't think about. So I would recommend, prepare yourself for like something weird to go wrong, like something not to display properly or whatever, and give yourself extra time. In the long run, it should be fine, especially if it's a better user experience. Right. And any other questions out there? Yeah, just curious from like we have a decent number of folks on. Like, do you all care about like ads on videos? Like, does it detract much or is it just part of the, what you have to deal with on YouTube? I guess it is technically free content for the most part. Yeah, for me, I upgraded to YouTube Red, so I don't see commercials anymore, and I was able to watch this great show called Cobra Kai, which I've talked about multiple times. If you haven't watched Cobra Kai and you grew up in the 80s, like Karate Kid, then you should definitely check it out. Steven says ads don't bother you. Billy says your bounce rate is high, between 80 and 90%, but the average visitor spends 5 to 8 minutes. Is that normal? Um, is it bad? I wouldn't worry about it. Basically, don't worry about it. 5 to 8 minutes is really good. That isn't normal. That's a long time. And you probably shouldn't worry about it. So that's fine. L. Smith says, you're thinking of getting red. Do I like it so far? Yeah, I totally love it. It's fantastic. I watch YouTube often at the gym. And the cool part is it's like YouTube music as well. So you could download music. So when I was going on road trips and stuff, I downloaded, 100 songs or whatever that I could just hit shuffle, and then I'm good to go as I'm driving through the middle of the desert and the high plains of Wyoming. All right. Oh, and Duke says starting ads are fine. You can click off in 5 seconds. Other ads every 5 minutes or so is a turnoff. Cool. Good to know. Um, Echo says, how many hours should you put into your site to see success? There's a lot of factors in there, but for my course, 5 Figure Niche site, I generally say if you could put in an hour, 5 to 7 days a week for about, I would say the first 3 months, you need to be pretty consistent with that. And then from 3 to 6, you can sort of throttle that back a little bit. Maybe you do it every other day, something like that. But overall, the more effort you put in, the more you're going to get out of it, which sounds dumb to say out loud, but it's true basically for everything. So I would recommend you put in as much as you can. All right. I heard the last update also penalized sites that had ads that looked like content. Some sites are really good at disguising. And that's an update you're happy about. Yeah, totally. And I remember being on a site not too long ago where it looked, I don't know, like the content blended so well with the ads. And then I was like, hey, wait a second, there's like that's totally an ad right there. All right, Brandon says, if your website has a lot of content, but the traffic isn't what it ought to be, what are the main things you check? I would maybe, I would look at, this is going to be unhelpful. I'm sorry, Brandon. Sorry, buddy. Basically, I would look at the on-site on-site completely. So I would select a few posts, analyze them, see what's up. And then I would look at off page, backlinks, check out your competitors, see what's off. Not helpful, but that's what I would do. All right, Matthew says there's been talk of recovery for health sites in the last week. Maybe there's an adjustment by Google. And by the way, when I had a couple readers and a couple, maybe like one or two students contact me who were impacted by the algorithm update in August. And I reminded them to be calm, wait, because if we remember, there was actually an update in the April and May timeframe, and it looks like it was generally rolled back. Not 100%, but most people that I talked to that were impacted in May, knock on wood, I wasn't impacted in either case, but most of the people that I talked to that were impacted in May, they had like a generally a full recovery. Maybe one or two were close to a full recovery, but it looks like it was adjusted back. So sometimes things are tested. It's really frustrating if you were impacted and you just have to wait and see, but sometimes that is what you have to do. Marty says, Brandon, you should hire Doug for some coaching. Yeah, that's really the only way to like get analysis, right? It's you can't really do it in the Q&A. Eric says, you have a site in the loans niche and you're getting 50 views a day. How much can I get if I implement Google Ads on my site? I'm not sure. I don't really do much with ads. If anyone has a comment out there, I think Jaron does some stuff with ads. The income school guys love ads. They don't, per my understanding, they're not really doing anything new with Amazon affiliate, but they do more with ads. So I have no clue. All right. Jaron also says to Brandon, check out your keyword research. All right, cool. Depeche says, oh, Brightfish, what's up? Depeche says you run an affiliate site. You want to know if it's fine for SEO to include 10 Amazon affiliate links in a 2,500 word article. You have not included any other link from any other website. Yeah, that should probably be fine. And then if you find that your rankings drop, then maybe you can remove some. But I think that would be fine. All right. Oh, and Duke says to Eric, AdSense click through is 1 to 2%. So look at the average cost per click in the niche, then take out Google's 33%, and then you can figure it out. All right. And then Tima says, how do I think you should go about the migration? Should you build it on a test site and then migrate, or put it on maintenance mode and then change the theme and edit content? I don't know. I haven't changed a theme in a while, but I think I just went for it. I think I just set aside 8 hours or something, and then I activated it, and then I probably tried to do it on a low traffic day and just work through it. So, like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a mess. There's going to be some issues, so just be sure you give yourself a lot of time. I think, and you know what? I'm not a WordPress developer or anything, so that's why I just like went in and kind of did it in a sloppy way. But I think if you know, if you know developers or something, they would probably recommend putting it on in a sandbox area, get it all fixed up, migrate it over once you have it 100%. My thought is I'll just pull the Band-Aid and then I'll figure it out on my own. All right, cool. So I think we're getting through the questions pretty well. Let me make sure I didn't forget any in the description here. All right, yeah, I totally did. So there are two others. So this one is from Ryan. Hey Doug, I started a niche site and you're using the keyword golden ratio for keywords to focus on. Great. I'm noticing that the products that fall within the KGR in the niche are usually in the $8 to $12 range. Do I see this as a problem? So generally, yes. However, here's the caveat. You always have to have like the end goal in mind. So I don't know what your goal is. My assumption is you want to make as much money as you can with the least amount of effort. That's basically everyone's goal. So I'll operate on that assumption, Ryan. If most of the products are in that price range, you're like artificially limiting yourself um, to lower earnings. So I would challenge you to figure out higher price products that are in the niche or something super closely related that you can include on the site and then go from there. If you just want to get started to like prove the business model, then maybe that would be okay. But I definitely see, you would have a lower ceiling and you would hit it much faster with that price range. My recommended price range is like $100, give or take, plus or minus 25. All right. Ahmed says, suppose my keyword is how to blah, blah, blah. Now, should I use the same exact keyword when you're writing the article title, or is it the topic that you could rank for if you write a really good article without having the exact title, the exact keyword in the title? So the answer is I would probably recommend using the keyword in the title. Is it possible that you could rank for a keyword if you write a good article without having it in the title? That is possible. Yeah. And generally, how should you base the title using the KGR? Put the KGR phrase in the title. All right. Next, and those are the questions that were sent in. By the way, if you have questions yourself, feel free to put them in the comments, or of course, if you're live, you could ask in the chat. Okay. Depeche says, follow-up question. You see that not putting Amazon links on the content results to higher rankings on Google almost always. Do I find that to be true too? Well, not that I know of. So I actually haven't tested it. I think that I've heard maybe Duke mention this, but I don't know. I don't find that to be the case. But to be honest with you, I don't publish many articles to test to see if they'll rank well without any Amazon links. And I mean, I would say, all right, let's say I rank higher. But if that like piece of content produces no revenue, then what's the point? So, I mean, who cares if you rank high if it's not earning you any money? Depeche, let me know. Like, at what level have you tested this? Like, give me more info. And then if other people have seen this too, really interested to hear about it. In Tima, the other thing I would recommend, as has been mentioned, I assumed you were going to do this anyway. Yeah, make sure you can back up your site before you touch it, so you could always revert back. Like if things go wrong, then yeah. And Dennis says, I have 8 articles on a 2-week-old site, 6 organic views. Is that on par? That seems pretty good to me on a 2-week-old site. That seems pretty good. However, it's a very small data set. But I would say if you're getting any organic traffic and your site's only 2 weeks old, you're doing some good things. So keep up the good work. And I would expect like over time, your rankings will improve. Like over the next 6 to 8 months, your rankings are going to improve. And you'll probably be doing a lot more work, adding more content, stuff like that. So you'll be in good shape. And Duke says you put Amazon links on immediately. I do too. And I didn't mention this, but Duke does here. Sometimes too many affiliate links will hinder you. Yeah. So less is more. And I would say put fewer affiliate links in general. One spot that often gets people is they'll put a table in and then they'll put like 3 affiliate links for every single item in there. And let's say you have like, I don't know, 10 items on your table. So you have like 30 affiliate links just in the table, and then whatever else you put into content. So a lot of times if I go audit someone's site and I see they they've gone crazy with affiliate links, just removing those will help things. All right. Matthew says, as long as you understand user intent, you don't think it affects rankings to have affiliate links. It would probably be worse if they came to your page and then went back to the search results. Yeah. And generally that's like the idea. However, I 100% agree. And I have seen this with students and just observationally. I usually don't put in a ton of affiliate links, but I've had some students that basically they were ranking pretty well for a term. I think they maybe added some content, but they also added like a number of affiliate links, and they went down from like number 2 to like number 22. So instead of like reverting back 100%, they just removed like quite a few of the affiliate links, and then they moved back up to number 2 within like a couple days. So the number of affiliate links definitely can impact things. Brightfish does mention that your highest ranking articles are all Amazon affiliate articles. Cool. Roadless Travel says, have I built any sites with zero backlinking as a test to see how it affects the rankings and traffic? How does it compare to building backlinks? So at first I was thinking, no, I haven't done that. But the answer is yes, I have done that. And I have a site that gets very little traffic, like almost no traffic. And I think there's about 120 posts on there or so, like almost no traffic, and it has no backlinks. So basically, even if you don't build backlinks, it's really good to have backlinks. So even if you don't want to do guest posting and you don't want to do other stuff, it really pays to like do outreach, or maybe like be on people's podcasts, or somehow do something to get links to your site. Getting no links, it could be, and you know what, it's probably another issue, but back to my point from way back, there's only so many things I could work on, or that I have an interest to work on. So like the stuff that I just mentioned to Brandon and a couple other people, like I need to go to that site and have a look at a couple posts and just look at the keyword density, see what's going on, like see what the issue is, because it should probably be ranking for more stuff, but I just haven't had time to go and look at it. Low priority for me. So Depeche says, do I use no follow on Amazon links? No, generally no. Marcus says, you never tested it yourself, but you hear people not putting affiliate links until it got traffic. The idea is it should help you rank faster. Cool. I've heard people talk about that too. Rose says, a little update with your 3-month-old site and most important keyword ranking number 5. Number 5, first page on Google. You'll be adding a video soon that should summarize the content. Any tips? No. Like I don't, any tips on adding the video or what? Like, I don't understand what you're asking. Elsmith says, do I think it's true that the title should be a certain length? Yoast suggests that a certain number of characters, which sometimes make me add words just to get length. No, I usually just like go with what seems best to me. I would generally not trust Yoast for any suggestion that it gives you ever. It's like if you're doing high level, sophisticated keyword research and SEO, like we're doing, if you're watching this now still, then you probably shouldn't follow any of the guides that Yoast gives you. There's some good tools and functionality within the Yoast SEO plugin, but I would not follow keyword density. I wouldn't follow the certain length. I know people would potentially disagree, and that's cool. Everything's different for other people. And all right, Rose, your tips for becoming number 1. Okay. Luckily, super easy. So I would improve the content, add more content to it. I would say double it. double the content, look at your competitors that are ranking above you and even below you. Make sure you're covering everything that they cover. Double the content. Add more images and the video. That'll be nice. And then get backlinks for it too. So get a lot of backlinks if you can, and that will probably help move you up. Now, the thing is, your site's 3 months old, so you may do all this and you may not see you may move up like one position in like 8 weeks. But if you do a ton of stuff and then give it time, depends on how competitive it is. If you give it time, like 1 year, and you do all this, you should be in great shape. All right. Duke says, and just the thing is, a lot of the questions that we do see, like the answer is the same. So make sure your on page is good. If you have some content, add more. If you don't have any backlinks, like get some. If you haven't networked within your niche, do it. If you haven't done any blog commenting and you want to network, do some blog commenting. Send out some emails, like try something, like do anything. Like basically make your content better and get backlinks. So that is it. Like those are the thumb screws to do it. Like 100% of the time. Make sure your grammar's good. You can adjust some, subheadings, add more subheadings, all that kind of stuff. But 100% of the time, those are the things. My job is very easy to answer these questions. All right. Duke says, what you found is the keyword variations in anchor text gets over optimized with too many affiliate links. So less links or change the anchor text to not include as many keyword variations. I'm not sure who that's directed to. Anchor text with too many affiliate links. Oh, okay. Yeah, and one should always watch out for keyword density. It can get out of hand. All right. Marty mentions that Rose can host the video on YouTube and embed it. Yep. The students who dropped in rankings until they removed some affiliate links, were they using no follow tags? I don't know. I think so, but I don't remember. All right, Joe's on. You made it 2 weeks in a row. Amazing. All right. Rose says, so double the content. Your content is already the best, but you'll improve it. Cool. Okay. So, and Duke clarified with too many affiliate links. Yeah. And Brandon says you've been able to surpass authority sites like eBay to get a #1 spot with long form, high quality stuff. Yeah. And the thing that can happen, right? Like after you have like published good content and you're getting traffic and things are going well, you will find that sometimes your buyers type keywords are going to start ranking for just the regular keyword. So like if the buyer's keyword was best ballpoint pen, you may start ranking for ballpoint pen, and you may see like Amazon, your site, Walmart, Target, other pen sites, right? The thing is or eBay, just like Brandon said, and you can like outrank like much bigger sites for much bigger terms that you're not even trying to go for. However, again, a lot of people, since I spend most of my time talking about the keyword golden ratio and like doing publishing content without building backlinks, most people assume that I do not build backlinks. However, I came from a gray hat environment, and sort of those were the people that I followed, and they were, I mentioned it the other day, people like Spencer Hawes, people like Pat Flynn, Hayden Miyamoto, like these folks who were doing a lot of affiliate marketing. Now they're doing much bigger things, but they were doing a lot of affiliate marketing. Like when I first got started, they were all teaching gray hat techniques. So from my perspective, like I've always been like a link builder. Now I try and follow the rules laid out by Google as best I can, to do networking and guest posting and do roundups and get people to know who I am so that I may be able to get mentioned on their blog, perhaps without even prompting them. Or maybe if you're friends with them, you could just say, hey, I'll do guest posting. The point being, for me, I think link building is huge to be able to rank those terms and to rank stuff, and actually get some traffic on your site. Although, Brandon, you may have not done any link building, which would, you know, prove that you don't need to do that. But I would argue if you could learn that skill, it's a good skill to have. In fact, I was talking to, or I can't remember, maybe I was doing a video or something not too long ago where I was thinking about when I was doing a guest post service. And it turns out like if you can figure out how to do link building, you can definitely like spawn up an agency. Maybe it's just you working as a freelancer at first, but like you could definitely do link building and SEO for companies. Most people, as you could see from the discussion, most people don't want to do link building or they don't know how, or they're scared to even send an outreach email. So if you can do that, it's easily like I launched my guest posting service that doesn't exist anymore within like 2 weeks or so, and it would have like it was on track for 6 figures. I think not even like top line revenue, but like it was very extremely profitable just in general, and I just didn't like the work. But the point is, if you could figure out how to do link building, if you can be comfortable with it, then you can just do that. Okay. All right, Brandon mentions that you realize it isn't possible for high volume keywords, but stuff under 250 is possible for sure. Duke says, Duke was asked, do you do a lot of comment backlinks or guest posts? And it depends on which stage the site is in. At the beginning, blog commenting, Quora, press release, Pinterest, and a couple of guest posts. And then after, you'll do guest posting, do 5 to 10 per month. And Duke, are you doing those yourself or are you hiring a company? L. Smith says, do I have a clear winner for free social media traffic? You know what? I think it's a waste of time personally. I don't like social media. I think since you haven't heard me mention this before, you must be newer to the channel. I don't like social media from like my personal lifestyle. I just don't enjoy it. So I actually have to like schedule time and put in effort to be active on my courses Facebook group because I've heard people want me to be more active there. So I'm putting in the time, helping out the students, trying to show my face in there. But basically, for Pinterest and Facebook and other traffic that you may get to an affiliate site, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes it's just not going to convert as well. And since I have a low interest in social media in general, I just don't spend time on it. All right. Roadless Travel says, have you seen the 200-page search quality evaluator guidelines? I've heard of it. And then Roadless Travel says, you haven't read it, but you're looking to skim over it. Yep, I've heard of it, but I haven't spent much time on it. Okay, we're super close to the 40 thumbs up. Just 3 away. But like I said, I don't even really, I don't mean, it's like I'm begging to get, recognition. I don't really care, to be honest with you. It looks like a handful of people watch these videos and they enjoy them, and I do what I can do. So, all right. Any other questions before we call it for the day? And if people are new, somehow you just ended up here and you don't know who I am, Doug Cunnington, founder of Niche Site Project. There's frequently asked questions. There's a link in the description. It's a good read just in general. So, like, if you are just getting started, if you're just interested in affiliate marketing, I recommend you take a look there. It will probably open your eyes to questions and interesting things that you can think of. Um, and then it's all linked together. So it's a fun read, several thousand words that you could take a look at. Okay. And Duke says, you're acquiring, you don't have time, so you're using Diggity service and Float service for guest posts, which is funny. See, like I said, those are highly profitable, like services, but I hated doing that work. And it's funny that you're getting guest posts from two of the biggest PBNers out there from back in the day. Oh, and we got the 45. Thanks, everyone. All right. Oh, Matthew says Reddit can be useful. Links turn into do follow after a certain number of upvotes. I have heard that. I basically I haven't been able to spend any time on Reddit. As I perused a couple things, it's such a tough crowd, and I'm already like, I don't even want to deal with it. So if it happens naturally, and I can tell you that I have had, at least for Niche Site Project, some folks on Reddit like link to my site, and it will bring in some traffic, but I have generally low interest in participating much on Reddit other than just like promoting my own stuff. I've heard like, oh, if you're helpful, if you're part of the community, like they'll let you post some stuff that's helpful. But there's only so many places that I could do this. And yeah. All right. L. Smith says, sorry if you've been asked before, do I use a certain stock photo plan or website? So I don't really like stock photos, and there's a image set of information in the FAQ section. If I can possibly find it, I'll get you the link here. I talk about images somewhere here. Okay, let's see if this link will work for you. So there's that. And then if you go to my resources page, I think I also list out other places where there's free images out there. And Eric, yeah, like we boosted the likes up quite a bit. It didn't work well last time. So honestly, that was kind of a surprise. Let's see. Joe says you have an SEO talk coming up for WordPress. Did I get better feedback from the very basic beginner's course or the more advanced talk? Do you get better feedback from the very basic beginner's course or the more advanced talk? Joe, do you mean just like in this stuff that I'm working on, like in these sessions and stuff? And Duke mentions that the site metrics are what you check. So you look for the DA, trust flow, citation flow, and traffic sources has to have the majority from Google. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Roadless Travels says, have I done a collab with the Income School guys? Yeah, we actually did two. So one on my channel, one on theirs. We interviewed each other, so you can check that out. Danish says, you'll reach 14 guest posts by the end of the week. You're getting a very strong website for guest posting. Can I add 2 exact match anchor text on it without any spam issues? Well, here's the thing. You have to understand your overall distribution, not just the one. So, assuming you don't have any other exact match, then yes, you should be fine. But I don't know the full picture, so I can't really answer your question. All right. I think, okay, so Joe, do I get better feedback from the basic beginners course or more advanced talk? So to be honest with you, I don't do as much like beginner content. So for example, Income School that Road Less Travel mentioned. So I think they do more beginner type content. It's more beginner friendly. They're a little bit more likable and stuff, a little more cuddly than I am. I'm more kind of an asshole. I'm straight to the point. If someone asks a question that I'm not super happy with, I'll straight up say that's a bad question. Um, so my stuff is more advanced, and I think my audience is polarized for people that know the vocabulary that I'm using. And honestly, and I'm curious, there's a lot of like just IT pros. So I have a lot of students, a lot of audience members who are they're software developers or project managers or IT directors. They're doing something tech, and it's probably like polarized because of that as well. Um, so Joe says you want to do a talk that'll bring in the biggest crowd. So you're wondering what'll bring in the bigger crowd. A basic talk on SEO or more advanced on SEO. Well, it depends on. I would look at the like the organize ask the organizers what they think. They'll have a better idea on the experience level. What you may what you may have is like you may have more people that are that may be drawn to the beginner, but like you may have like less of an impact. So an interesting thing is because I talk so deep into like the weeds, like I'm really helping the people that understand what I'm talking about. So I get really good feedback. All right. I get really good feedback from the smaller number of people um, on here, right? On YouTube. Now, YouTube's a different animal than, say, the blog. And what I've learned in my little experiment over the past 18 months, 20 months at this point, I can revise that. So, about 20 months working on YouTube, it looks like people from YouTube don't want my course as much. That's fine. It's just a little bit different. It shows me where I need to spend my time, right? So if I need to like have people where they want to hire me for coaching and stuff, like then maybe I need to spend more time blogging. Because so I'm sort of getting off topic. So I think I would talk to the organizers, find out the kind of crowd that you're dealing with, and then the other thing it sounds like you want to draw as many people as possible, but what you can do, and I do this on my webinars. By the way, if people haven't checked out my webinars, I do them. I take little breaks, but usually I'll do about 6 or 10 of them straight, and I may start doing them more often. And I usually do a little announcement on here. The thing is, Joe, and thanks, you prefer my direct route style. All right, thanks. At the beginning of some of these webinars and live trainings, I'll start asking questions so I understand the experience level for the audience and I could customize it at that time. Now, if you're doing slides and you have to be prepared beforehand, then you may have to be like, you may have to plan it ahead. But if you could tailor the presentation based on like who's in there, that's really good. And you may like what you can do if you have that flexibility is like have like Q&A as well. All right. Marcus says that Pinterest traffic. Oh, Duke says you just bought a bunch of Pinterest pin images for $1.50 a piece, and you'll see if they work while trying a Pinterest strategy. Duke says you feel the Pinterest traffic, or sorry, Marcus says to Duke, you feel Pinterest traffic has become less and less passive. They're favoring people who consistently add content more and more. Yeah. And basically, that is my observation for places like actually not all social media, and it depends on what you can on social media, but like Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. Like if you're not actively doing stuff all the time, then you'll not get as much traffic. Where I kind of like Google, because if you can rank, then that takes care of it, and you know the buyer's intent or the searcher's intent and whether they're a buyer or not. YouTube's interesting. It's kind of a blend, right? I can get some organic traffic on the YouTube side. However, I definitely see, because I don't have any like videos that are viral or that have taken off at all. Um, the more I publish, even if I like republish stuff, or a smart thing, if I had, um, I guess the desire and the budget to dedicate, I probably could have an editor go back into the archives, like, hey, find like my best videos and shorten them up, make them like get the best 10 minutes out of this hour-long presentation, and then just make it fit. And then that would be like gold, right? I mean, that would be an hour refined down, distilled to like 10 minutes of like really good content. Okay. Long session today. All fueled by caffeine. All right. Chris says, you keep looking at website speed on Pingdom and GT metrics. Your leverage browsing always gets a horrible grade. I don't know. I would probably hire someone. So you're using caching and you don't know. A lot of times I've had trouble working with that stuff too. I'll like check the checkbox that I'm supposed to check, and I don't know like what is going on, right? Like I'm trying to minify whatever like thing I'm supposed to do, and like I don't know. So I would probably like hire someone to see. Marty says a lot of times it's a combination of too many things like JavaScript, not compressing images, theme overhead, slow server, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I would say if you haven't upgraded your hosting to some like higher end hosting, that would be like when I did that, that basically took care of most things. So if you do that, you're in good shape. Danish says you have a few exact match out of the 14. This will be the first time you're going to use exact match anchor text. So can I add 2 high competition anchor text? Okay. So your Danish, I don't understand your question because it's contradicting. It says I have very few exact match out of the 14. This will be the first time you're going to use exact match. So if you have very few, then it will not be the first time that you're using it. So can you add 2 competition anchor text? The answer is I don't know. Again, like you have to look at your full anchor text distribution and make a smart decision on it. So I would say if you're nervous, then don't do it. If you think you're in good shape and you've been diverse, then that's cool. Go for it. I think you can go for it. Depeche says you'll always be present in the Q&A. Cool. Thanks for the support. And and Jonathan is on here. Cool to catch me live. Yeah. Do you have any questions? We're on a marathon here. I ran out of coffee a long time ago and should have filled up a little bit more. Oh, I haven't been drinking any water. So any questions before we wrap up? It's interesting. Maybe we can make up for not as many videos published in the last couple of weeks by just having a really long session here. What's my typical day look like? I should record one of those more vlog style, but roadless travel, usually I wake up, make some coffee. If I'm fasting that day, then I'll just have like coffee with maybe like bulletproof style. And then if I'm not fasting that day, I'll oftentimes have a protein shake that I just mix with water. And then I'll walk my dog for about an hour. Walk up to the Home Depot here. And then I come back and I'll work for a few hours, maybe like half the week. I have maybe a meeting or something in the morning, but a lot of times I'll try and do my like any kind of writing or creative work that I need to do in the morning. I'm usually the sharpest at that time, and then I'll go to the gym around lunchtime. Usually, maybe have some lunch, and then if I want to, I'll maybe do a little bit more work. Again, maybe about half the week, I'll do a little bit more work later in the day. So that's usually a typical day. I'm usually working like 4 to 6 hours, maybe 4 to 6 days a week. Oh, and there's a lot of people on that maybe didn't hear the like first part. I have a productivity course that I'm launching on Monday. So keep an eye out for that. If you're not on the email list, you should check it out. It's it's one of those courses where you get all the content immediately. I'm not dripping it out. You get all the content immediately. You can start working through it. I believe it will take, I'm trying to remember, it's in the sort of frequently asked questions of the course. But I think it'll take like 10 to 14 hours to work through it over the course of like 2 to 3 weeks. So you can put in a little bit of time and improve your productivity like dramatically. So I highly recommend you check it out if you want to like get more done, or if you're having trouble like focusing and or prioritizing your tasks. This course will help. There's also a whole section on project management, a whole unit on project management and using it as an individual or a small team versus like having a, a whole like corporate sort of setup. So productivity, if you're not on the email list, check it out on Monday. All right. Jeremy likes the long sessions. It gives you something to listen to while working. Yeah, by the way, people comment if you're watching the replay as well. If you watch and or listen to these live streams while you're at work, maybe that's why they go well. Next, yeah, Jaron, I'm still live. That's right. Sean says, do I train for running? Am I into road races, 5 or 10K? I haven't run anything in a while. I usually do half marathons, though. When I do, there's one coming up in like a month. I don't know. Like I've had some nagging injuries over the past like year and a half. So that's sort of the issue why I like sort of slowed down and trying to like strengthen like other muscles. I've had like calf issues. So anyway, yeah, I like the half marathon distance and usually road races, but I think I would kind of prefer like trail runs, but some of them out here are actually like really tough. So Jonathan, how do I feel about music niches? I don't know much about them, but it seems fine. Alwayne, do I think a general niche is okay where you review multiple products in different categories? Sure. Alwayne, like normal, you could basically do whatever you want. Brendan says, would I mind sharing more about the productivity course, price, and main focus? You know that your experience with project management and historically it's been the weakness. Cool. You know what? I'll provide because this is a small crew, I can literally just get you. I could send you to the page. I thought briefly about opening up for the people here just in it, like that are here live and stuff, but I may just wait until Monday. All right. So I don't have to change anything. Brendan, you can get more information there and anyone that wants to. So basically I go over like general productivity for like 2 units to help you sort of like understand the prerequisite information that you need before you can like go further. A lot of it you may know, but one thing in the course is I really emphasize you sit down and like do the work. So this is one issue that especially a lot of us that consume YouTube videos or blogs or podcasts or whatever, there's so much information. We probably know what we need to know, right? Like you start listening or watching something and you're like, yeah, I already know how to do X, right? And sure, you know, like conceptually how to swim, right? You can read a book about swimming. Someone could, you could watch someone swim, but until you jump in the water, like you don't know how to swim, right? So I really encourage you to get the work like done. Now, in the other units, I sort of go over like a case study. Like, so I use the YouTube publishing that I did in February, where I published a ton of videos, built a team, and essentially like walk you through the whole process from the very start, coming up with the idea to implementing it and how to do it in a step-by-step way. So it's kind of like a case study so that you could follow along with a practical like example. And of course, the part that I skipped was like you get the prerequisite information in the first 2 units, and then the third unit is actionable techniques. So I give you a couple options there. There are a few. I think there's about 5 hours of recorded video where they were live sessions. We went over the material, did some Q&A. So those are pretty helpful. And so that is the general idea. Hopefully the sales page gives you more information there. Coming out Monday, we'll be open for a week. All right. And the cool part about the courses is like I add to them later and update. So when I first released the beta version of this course, the productivity masterclass, I didn't have as much like project management, like real life project management stuff in there because I didn't know what people needed or wanted exactly. So as I like understood more the specific needs of the students, then I was able to add more detail on project management and then like do better. Sean says, "What's my half marathon time?" So around 2 hours. Around 2 hours. So I think I've finished under 2 hours handful of times, maybe half the time. And then more recently, I think when I ran the one in the last year and a half, I think it was like 2:10. But I was just like, I just want to not get injured. I just want to run and not get injured. All right. And Brandon says, do I have any info about the cost? It's $99. And the term length, you get lifetime access. I think that's what you're asking. All right. Jonathan says, you've been recording for a while and soundproofing is really DIY in the general market. You don't see much with the general population other than studios. Yeah. I would generally agree with that. But I think the podcasting community would probably be really interested. I mean, I know like I tried to record some stuff in the kitchen where there's a lot of like open space and like walls and stuff, wood floor, and I could like totally hear an echo. And I was like, oh man, I need to come into a room where there's more cloth and less walls, less like carpet, or I need carpet. So I think, if you can go after the podcasting community, that would be huge. Okay, I think I'm going to bounce here soon, getting a little bored, a little bit hungry, I'll be honest with you. Chris says, your SEMrush site audit says you have 62 pages with duplicate content. You have AAWP and it lists features. Should I not also list the same features separately? All content is original. I don't know. I'm not really sure. You have AAWP and it lists features. Should I not also list the same features separately? I don't know, Chris. I'm not real sure what the issue is. I mean, here's the deal. If you don't want to have duplicate content, then get rid of the thing that's making the duplicate content, right? You already know that. And then if you don't care, then that's fine. I don't know much about the SEMrush audit tool. I usually take any tool's audit with a grain of salt and like look at it logically. So I don't know what issue you're having specifically. Grant is on. What's up? I'm going to bounce soon, Brandon. Cool. Jonathan says, do I have a CTR to shoot for? No. Not specifically, Jonathan. I've seen it from 30 to 60%, and I assume you mean click-through rate for like clicking from your site, any visitor over to Amazon. So I've seen it very low or kind of low, kind of high. Depends on your traffic. Or you may be talking about the CTR for something else. And if it's the CTR that may be reported on the Google Search Console, then I don't know. How do I feel about building a social presence? Okay. And that is, I don't care about a social presence. It's totally up to you. If you think it could be a good source, then go for it. If you enjoy it, go for it. I do not enjoy it. I don't think it's a good source of traffic for me, my sites, so I don't spend time on it. And that, my friends, as we're starting to get repeat questions, like pretty recent repeat questions, it's time to jet. I'll finish up the ones that were sent in. Chris appreciates all the help. And by the way, I should mention this more often. I do one-on-one coaching. So all these questions where I just give a vague, generalized answer, if you are making money on your site and you actually need me to go look and give you advice that will help you, you can go to nichesiteproject.com/hire-me. Pretty easy to find. You can search for it as well, or you can shoot me an email and let me know. And I can look at your site and audit it. I can look at exactly what you have questions about. I can pull reports for you and do some actual analysis. And I could record the session, upload it to my Vimeo Pro account, give you personal access so that you could refer to it later. So that is probably, I should mention that at the beginning of the calls too, because I feel bad. People are asking questions for help, and I'm just giving you the same answers over and over again. Because I mean, those are the answers, but a lot of times people need like me to look at their title or look at their keywords and help you figure out why it's not ranking. Okay. Marcus says you used to do a lot of long distance running, but you got bored of it. Now you just do sprinting. Cool. Yeah. And you know what? I love going for like a run longer than 60 minutes. Like I feel really good after that. That's what I really love. All right. And Depeche says, do I manually fetch as Google? Sometimes. Yeah. Grant says, can a post have too many words? Anything's possible. So yeah, you can have too many words. What do I think the magic number is? 5, 10,000. It depends on the topic. Brandon, you're welcome. Duke, thanks to all the moderators, by the way. We had Duke and Marty, Jaron was on. So appreciate all the people that keep order in here. And yeah, really cool. Grant says, does it depend on competitors' articles for the same keywords? Yeah, more or less. And basically, like if you analyze the competition and like do a little bit more, it's going to be in good shape. All right. Jonathan says, you've been doing SEO for a while and everything I talk about makes sense. That's cool. Awesome. All right. I'm out of here. Everybody have a good weekend. We had a record session today for length, maybe not attendance, but we'll catch you later. Be sure to look out for the productivity masterclass. I'll probably do like live streams all next week just to promote the hell out of it. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you later.